Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back. In this video, we are looking at the Tuesday NBA slates. We have 4 games today, starting at 7. One 7 o'clock game and then 3 later games. So go ahead and break it down. MLB is 2 days away, so I might get the video out later today or maybe early tomorrow. So keep an eye out on that. Looking forward to baseball season. And let's get into the picks. So as always, appreciate you guys to like button, subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow on Twitter for updates at the DFS process. Looking forward to this one. Missed out yesterday, so hopefully today goes well. Looking at the point guard options, starts with Russell Westbrook. He's 10,900, coming off of one of his best games of his career, 95 DraftKings points last night. It's mainly dependent on Beal. If Beal is back, then obviously we'll take a big hit. If Beal plays, if Beal is out again, then he's going to be the guy that you want to play on a 4-gamer. Trae Young is 9,000 against Phoenix. He has been fine. He has had a couple of better games recently, 49, 47, 49. Put up 40 last game against Denver. They got blown out late in that game. The matchup against Phoenix isn't the best. They are very good defensively, but Trae Young is still at a good price tag. So on a 4-game slate, he's definitely going to be worthy of consideration. I'd go Trae Young over Ben Simmons. Chris Paul, his price has jumped to 8,000, so he's not that interesting. He's had some poor games. He's had some better games, but at 8,000 is kind of the high point of his price tag. I like when he's in the low 7K range, so I don't think I'll have Chris Paul. I think you can maybe look to Devin Booker instead. Rozier looks great. The entire Charlotte team looks amazing tonight against Washington. He played 44 minutes against Phoenix. I believe that game definitely went into overtime. So played 39 in regulation. He's been playing so well since he's kind of taken over at the point guard with the unfortunate injury to LaMelo Ball. He's been very consistent. 77 is definitely a high price tag, but he's been worthy of that, especially in this sort of matchup where they should put up north of 115, maybe over 120 points. I like Rozier more than Jamal Murray. I like Devontae Graham a lot more than MCW, only $300 cheaper than him. You can look to Reggie Jackson. Once again, the Clippers continue to sit guys out late. They sat out Paul George under 30 minutes ago after he wasn't on the injury report. I think tonight, back-to-back against a terrible Orlando team, this could be the day where Kawhi Leonard ends up sitting. Maybe he gets ruled out later. And this is a 10 o'clock game, so got to keep an eye on and maybe prepare for a situation where Kawhi Leonard ends up being ruled out at like 9:30, 9:40, like they have been doing recently. So if that's the case and Paul George plays, definitely play Paul George. Other guys like Reggie Jackson, Terrence Mann, Morris, all those guys, Kennard look like great value plays. Speaking of Terrence Mann, he's a great play with or without Kawhi, assuming Paul George is back. His minutes have been high the last few games. Don't expect Rondo to play right now. And he's actually been pretty good and been filling up the stat sheet off the bench for the team. So we'll see. They said he's probably going to miss, I don't know, probably will miss Tuesday as well. So with no Rondo, assuming no Rondo, Terrence Mann will get a lot of the backup point guard minutes. So he looks like a great play. And like if there's no Beal, you can look to Neto again, or Raul Neto at 3,500. And that's pretty much it. Point guard play I really like is going to be Devontae Graham, 6,100. Shooting guard, if Paul George plays, he looks great against Orlando at 8,600. If Beal plays, he looks great as well. And then I like Rozier. I think Booker's probably my 4th option out of the top guys. And then at Ross is 71. He's probable tonight, but I don't know if he'll play a bunch of minutes. He's missed like 8 games in a row now. They do have some more reinforcements with Otto Porter. So they're not super thin, but he will look a lot better if he starts. If he comes off the bench, probably will look all right, but he's not going to be a must play. It is a tough matchup too. Like it's not one of those spots where you can just go out there and shock freely. Like Clippers will have probably Paul George on him, and Paul George can make life difficult for guys like Terrence Ross. Bacon had a great game, 38 to 9 of 19 shooting, so not even the best shooting game, but he hit value with 8 rebounds, 1 assist. He looks good as well tonight. He's not a guy I'm gonna be prioritizing at 57, but on a 4-gamer, I'd probably play him over MCW. I'll probably play him over Will Barton. Bogdanovich has been pretty frustrating for roster. His price tag has creeped over 5K now. He's still given, assuming he's getting the minutes. It was a blowout last game, another blowout the game before that. So we haven't really seen him play a full amount of minutes in a few games. I would assume he would get close to 30. He's at a good price tag still, so he's still in consideration. And then I don't mind getting to Reggie Jackson at 4,900. Malik Monk is probable. Oops. Monk, I believe, is probable tonight, so he looks like a guy that we can play. He's been like a really nice tournament option. He's been really hot at times. He put up 12 of 17 last game, 33 before that. So at 4,900 bucks with all these guys, with Charlotte being a little bit short-handed still right now, he looks like a guy that you can definitely get to. I plug him in right now. Expecting to play. He gets a lot of minutes off the bench. Another spot where he can probably stay hot and get some more backup point guard minutes. He looks good at 4,900. Other guys in the 4K range, you have Seth Curry. I like Monk over Curry. I probably like Monk over Bogdanovich as well. I like Terrence Mann a lot. Get to him. Milton, 47. He's now with Curry back. His minutes are going to be in the low 20s, so he's not. It's not a. He's not a great value play. And then they still shouldn't have Lou Williams. I don't believe will play yet on the. Actually, they said he probably can play tonight, so a good sign for the Hawks here. Getting Lou Williams get some spark off the bench. He's 45. We'll see how many minutes he plays. He still have a lot of depth, so I don't expect him to come out there and play like 25, 30 minutes. Probably low 20s, maybe high teens for him. Now, Luke Kennard, if there is no Paul George or if Kawhi sits on a back-to-back, he would be a guy that you can definitely play at only 3,400. Small forward, at the top is Kawhi Leonard, 88, played 36 minutes last night against Milwaukee. I do think there's a probably more than 50% chance he sits tonight. This is their third game in 4 days, so that is probably a factor, as well as facing off against Orlando on a back-to-back with some travel. So I will probably expect. I'm probably going to prep my lineup in case Kawhi sits, and I'll probably assume that. Ben Simmons, 87. I like the bias more than Simmons. I love Hayward more than any of those top guys. It's only 7,600. Definitely get some Charlotte in there against Washington. It's going to be these three that I prioritize right now. They're all at good price tags. Hayward's been struggling shooting, but it's a perfect cure going up against Washington. He plays a huge amount of minutes. Should get some open looks here. He gets you some extra like rebounds, get some more assists, just some more usage in general, and he's just too cheap in this sort of matchup. So he's a guy that I expect a lot of people to play, but just looking at the range, he looks so much better than like Terrence Ross, Michael Porter, guys that are even close to his range. He looks better than guys that are more expensive than him. So definitely get to Gordon Hayward tonight. I don't mind getting to Aaron Gordon. He's 6,200. He started, played only 21 minutes. That was a blowout at the end, so he lost. He probably would have played like 27, 28. They still do have a lot of bigs in there with like Paul Millsap. They also have JaMychal Green, who had a good game off the bench. So I don't expect him to play like huge minutes for the team right now, but he should probably get to close to 30 on a nightly basis. And then Bridges, not really looking at him too much. And then Porter came off the bench, so he's not that appealing. Bacon's not, he looks fine, but I think there's some other ways you can go, like Bogdanovich. If there's no Kawhi or no Paul George, then Morris would be a nice play at only 51. His price tag did go up a little bit, but he should get a lot more shot attempts, more usage, more minutes. Everything looks better for him. And that's pretty much it for the main guys. And you have Kennard as a value play. Power forward, I definitely don't mind getting to John Collins. He's only 7,000. This is a great price tag for a guy that has shown a huge ceiling recently. He's also shown a bit of a low floor. But if the team is in the games, he usually does well. He blew out against Denver, so he only put up 22, but he put up 61 against the Warriors, put up 61 against the Lakers a few days ago. He's been pretty consistent in the 30s and 40s for the most part. Occasionally gets 20s when he doesn't get enough minutes, but his minutes have been a lot higher recently, 33, 34. He's been playing a lot better. And the matchup against Phoenix, this is one of those spots where you could get to a guy like Collins just because they're a lot better defensively with like the guards and wings and the forwards. He'd probably be matched up against like Jay Crowder, backup like Saric. Looks like he should have some advantages there. So I don't mind getting to Collins. I think he looks like a good play at 7,000. Looking at guys that are below him like PJ Washington, Porter is only 200 and 300 cheaper than Collins. Collins gives you a lot higher ceiling than those guys. Then Rui's already up to 6K. Is not appealing for me. Okiki, 56. They could shake up their starting lineup tonight. We'll see. Don't really want to get to him. Gallo looks fine at 53 if there is no Hunter again. But Gallo has kind of been really only for tournaments. He hasn't really shown a consistent floor at all throughout the season. And Morris looks good as a value play at 51. And that's pretty much it. You could take a shot on like Cameron Johnson, but he's been pretty bad so far, or since he's been back. At center, you have Capella at only 7,400. He had a bad game as I expected. Even though I played him, I never get Capella right. Hopefully he has a good game tonight. It's against Phoenix, so not the best spot, but DeAndre Ayton has taken a step up in defense this season, but it's a spot where both centers kind of stay around the basket. Ayton doesn't really step outside the paint. Capella doesn't step outside the paint. So there should be a lot of rebounds for Capella against Denver. Probably Jokic pulled him away from the basket at times and kind of made him run all up and down the court. Don't really see that happening tonight for Capella, so I like him at 74. He still gives you a huge ceiling. Definitely can get to Jokic. It's a lot better spot for him against Philly without Embiid. We have Zubac at 59 if there is still no Serge Ibaka. If Ibaka happens to play, he's only 4,800, so he could be worthy of a look. And then the Magic, they have three centers that played Carter, Birch, and Bamba. They played some Bamba and Birch and Carter and Birch alongside each other. But I really don't want to pick up between any of those three. They're all kind of priced where we can't really get to any other value play. Or like, they're all kind of priced where they should be. If one of these was cheaper, like in the low 4K range, it's probably worthy of a shot. But I don't really see myself picking between the three centers. And that's mainly it here. You have like Zeller's down to 3,800. But they've been starting Biombo, and his minutes have really fallen off. So right now, I would assume I would probably get to like Ayton, Washington, or Capella. I'll put in Capella for now at 74. I like some of the bigs in Atlanta, Collins and Capella. And then last but not least, go with Terrence Mann, get at least one Clipper in there. He's been really good for the team. They've really been going to him off the bench. He's been shooting the ball a lot better. He can get you some rebounds, a big guard in that kind of getting rebounds, one of the better guards there. Gets you some assists, playing some backup point minutes. And he's a guy that's only 4,700. His price tag has started to creep up, but assuming that if one of George or Kawhi sits, then he would be a guy that I would definitely get to. If they're both in, then we can go elsewhere, but I still don't mind getting to him just because I don't think Beverly will be back yet. So that's pretty much it right now on the DraftKings side. Definitely get a lot of Charlotte, and then we'll see about the Clippers news. That's going to be definitely a big piece of news that we're waiting on. So let's go ahead and look at FanDuel. On FanDuel here, point guard options, it's Westbrook at 11,000. If Beal is out, then you definitely want to prioritize him. I think Beal will probably play tonight on a back-to-back after he sat the first half of it. You have Trae Young, 87. He looks like a good pivot. If you wanted to save some money, 7K range, I like Rozier the most. Probably then Ben Simmons and Chris Paul. Jamal Murray sitting at 7K. He also looks fine against Philly. And then the position kind of falls off. Then you have my MCW as a $5,300 play that people might go to, but I don't really see it. I'd rather go to Reggie Jackson at 5,000, assuming there's no Beverly. And then if there is no Kawhi or Paul George, one of those two sit, then Jackson looks like a good 5K option. And then that's it. I don't think you need to go to anybody in the 3K range. So I'm going to go ahead and put in Terry Rozier for now, 75. Against Washington, he's been great for the team, gets a lot of usage, shoots a bunch, facilitates, plays huge minutes. He looks like an all-around great play. At shooting guard, if Paul George plays, he looks great at 87, assuming that if Kawhi sits on a back-to-back here, even though he's been playing, but I just think that 3 games in 4 days against the Magic, he could get like a little back injury at like 9:30. Then we have Devin Booker, 8,200. Fine, I play as well. Both of these guys are 10K games, so we could go to Booker right now. And then if something happens with Clippers news, you can go ahead and pivot to Paul George. Monk is already priced up to 65, so I'm gonna really like him on DraftKings. Don't think you need to go to him on FanDuel. Rather go Devontae Graham than Malik Monk. Save $1,200. We have Terrence Mann at 47. You have Reggie Jackson. We have Luke Kennard at 35. So take a bit of a wait and see approach at this position. Right now, assuming Paul George plays, I'll go ahead and put him in for now. Small forward, it's going to be Gordon Hayward for me. You save 2,600 from Kawhi Leonard. So definitely play him, especially because I think there's a chance Kawhi could sit tonight. And then you have Michael Porter Jr. at 65, but there's really nobody else that has a lot of upside besides Gordon Hayward at the top and like Kawhi. So definitely go with Gordon Hayward in the 5K range. It's like Danny Green, Bridges, some guys that can go off every once in a while, but they're not going to put up ceiling performances very often. I'd probably try to go a little bit cheaper for like Bogdanovich, hope that he kind of has a better game in terms of getting some more peripherals and continues to make his shots. And then if the Clippers are shorthanded, he could take a shot on like Batum, but I'd rather go to a few other guys before I go to Batum. Power forward, it's Tobias at 86, and it's John Collins at 82. There's the two spend-ups. You might want to get to one of the two here. I definitely don't mind getting to Collins tonight at 82. He's a bit more expensive on FanDuel. Say he's $1,200 more expensive, but the position isn't super deep. You have like 3 guys or 4 guys at the top you can play. Then there's a lot of guys in the 5K range, but they're not very confident. I don't have a lot of confidence in many of those guys. And the 4K range is definitely Marcus Morris at only 4,500. He looks like a great guy to save some money on. And that's pretty much it. And then center is Jokic at 11.3. Then it's Capella. They're the two guys I really like. Capella's already up to 85. So 85 price tag, we need like 50. Might as well just try to get the Jokic and hope that he goes for 60, 70. Just a great spot. The Sixers have been starting like Mike Scott in absence of Embiid, and now that they traded away Tony Bradley, there's a chance like Dwight Howard should get a lot of minutes tonight. But Howard hasn't been able to stay out of foul trouble, and he got ejected 2 games in a row. So Jokic can definitely put some frustrations on Howard, make him definitely get some technicals. So I would have liked to get to Howard, but I think there's some risk there. I'd rather get to Jokic just because Howard can't really slow Jokic down at all. Jokic should be able to feast in the paint here and should be able to feast on the outside because don't really see Dwight Howard running out to the 3-point line or running out to the to like 15, 18-foot line, 18-foot range to defend Jokic. So that's it for the DraftKings and Fanduel breakdown for this one. 4 games, so not a lot right now. We could get a lot of news later if depending on the Clippers news. So that's it for the video. Thank you guys for watching. Best of luck tonight and see you all next time.